The Reserve Bank's rate cut was well anticipated, but what wasn't anticipated was that the Reserve Bank called time formally on the easing cycle. And running into that monetary policy statement, financial markets thought there was a chance that there might have been a further interest rate cut coming, perhaps early next year or perhaps towards the middle of next year. But the Reserve Bank really poured cold water over that. The governor said, for example, that there was a high hurdle to be breached before you could expect another interest rate cut. So, markets were surprised by this, and they've had to reevaluate what the risk profile is for medium-term interest rates, given that there's no more cuts really in the likelihood. That raises the question of when will rates start rising and how much will they increase by? And that's why we've seen rising medium-term wholesale interest rates, things like the 2-year and the 3-year and the 5-year swap rate, all gone up by 50 or 60 basis points over that period. And that's had the impact on mortgage rates because that's the interest rate that we use to fund ourselves so that we can lend that money for those sort of terms.
Was the Reserve Bank governor over-signalling? Too much communication sometimes is worse than saying less.
Well, I think they did over-egg it a bit. Their projections spoke for themselves in large part. They basically suggested that there wasn't really very much chance of another cut and that a hike might come sometimes in 2027. And I think if they'd probably just left it at that, then perhaps the market reaction would have been a lot less. But their communications continued to emphasize that the rate cutting cycle was over, that they expected the economy would recover. When interest rates rose in the next day or so, the press asked the governor, is the sort of market reaction that you expected? And instead of saying that, well, they thought that they didn't need to see interest rates go up, they said that this is pretty much what they expected. So financial markets took that as a green light to say, we probably should push interest rates up a bit.
Yeah. And we have seen a bit of a cashback war. The banks are really trying to juice clients, new business